So in this character builder tutorial, we are going to be looking at the insect character. So if I just create that, and then we produce a thorax, which gives us our main body of our little insect. And then we've got the abdomen IK. So if I just create that, this abdomen will allow us to, control its abdomen. Going back to the thorax, we've got the ability of producing a head. Okay, so producing that, and then we've got antennae. So you can do IK, which means that you can move them depending on where you want to go, or you've got set driven. So I'm going to create one antenna IK and one antenna set driven. Okay, so I've got the two, and again, like I've done in the previous tutorial, I'm going to create a second one of those and then delete the one I don't want, so that I've got two, one of one type, one of the other. So I've got one that will create IK and one that will create set driven. You can also add mandibles as well, which are weird little pincer things that they have at the front of their face. Going back to the thorax, you can create claws. And I'm just going to create a second one so that we've got one on the other side. There we go, we've got these claws working at the back. This is looking very much like a lobster at the moment. Going back to the thorax, you can then create the legs. So I'm just going to hold down Control so it makes the legs at both sides. So that's only two. And then go back to the abdomen. So go back to the thorax, holding Control and Shift so I can create a couple more legs. Oh, that's starting to look really quite creepy. And then you can also add in wings. So Shift and Control, wings, and that adds in the wings both sides. And there we go, straight off we have this incredible insect rig. It's relatively easy to adjust. So just to play with the adjustments a bit, I'm going to go to adjust and I'm going to move some of the stuff out, which largely involves where that thorax finishes. Okay, because I want to have control of where that abdomen starts, maybe slightly further up, because what I would like to do is I'd like to select the legs and then I'm going to move them up the abdomen so that they are not all squished up at the front. Then I'm going to go back to my build, and then I'm going to go to just go straight to my animate, and you can see, there we go, we've got this incredible little, insectoid thingy. The IK tail, the IK abdomen allows you to adjust and move. You can see how quickly that sort of moved around, and that's where all of that control goes. So it all starts from down there, and you can curl it up and move it like closer and further away, and it will act really, really bizarrely. You've got the feet as you would expect, so they are all IK chained so that they are in their wonderful little positions. They'll stretch back out, they'll go in, and then they will all move in that weird, wonderful way. You can grab the thorax, and that's your main body, and that will move everything up, and the legs and everything will go with it. You've got your claws, which you can move up and down and rotate. But equally over here in the controls, you've got the ability of doing completely open and closing, so you can do these really nasty pincers. And that works the same if you select the mandibles as well. So they will open really wide and then they will close their way up to, be really quite creepy. The antennae, we did two different ways of doing it. So I've got the IK controller, so wherever I put that, the antennae will bend and fold into. I think if I rotate that, no, I haven't got control of the rotation, so I can only do movement with that. But if I select the controller there, and I can rotate this one, I can control the way that antennae works using the rotation of that main controller. So depending again on what you want to use it for, you've got a couple of different ways of controlling that. Now this rig I also like, if you press play, the wings are already animated. So selecting one of the wings, You can control the amplitude, you can say how many degrees it goes, you can choose the frequency, so if I wanted it to go twice as fast, you've got 4% already. Four different movements of there I'll put my teeth in. You've got 4 different movements, 4 different frequencies, a second frequency or one, that controls the speed of how that moves. That's at a regular pulse. You can untick that, and if I was to put that back at say 4, you can see that the wings now jitter like it's sitting there waiting for something. You can of course just turn that off, and therefore they won't do anything. You can enable dynamics, okay, so you've got dynamic strength, and you can see that those wings will now sort of float and flop depending on how they work together. So that was the insect tutorial. It's really quite powerful, and you've got some wonderful preset stuff, particularly the wings, which I think is absolutely great. And the mandibles at the beginning, which is just really freaky at the front, and the claws and the pincers. But it gives you a really quite nice, powerful and adjustable rig incredibly fast.